Hello and welcome to this webinar from Synowledge on SharePoint and the pharmaceutical industry. My name is Donal McLaughlin and I am the Marketing Manager for Synowledge and will be your moderator today. This presentation is approximately 30 minutes in length with additional 5 minutes for Q&A at the end. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to type them into the message window throughout the webinar, and I will put the questions to the team during the Q&A segment. A recording of this webinar, along with the slide deck, will be distributed over the coming days. So with that, I will pass you over to our presenter today, JK, who is a SharePoint SME at Synowledge.
Thank you, Donald. So welcome all into this webinar session for SharePoint. I'll be taking you through the technical details. So I'd like to start off with some background and some understandings on SharePoint. So I assume that at least most of you would be having some kind of interaction or some kind of experience with SharePoint being a very widely used tool in the market. So I'd like to just introduce SharePoint in my first slide. So basically, SharePoint is a tool by Microsoft which acts as a single point for collaboration and document management system, along with a lot of other features and integration. So if you are new to this tool, so it's considered to be the #1 tool out in the market for document management system and collaboration. That's why 78% of the whole Fortune 500 companies use it. 60% of the total companies use it for their document management systems under the Fortune 2000. So it provides a long variety of features like cloud, workflows, and synchronizations with other tools like integrations to third-party applications and many other things, which I'll take you through in the next and forthcoming slides. So the next one, this slide, you can actually see how SharePoint is actually going to make your life easier. So you can see it can bring up collaboration, control, governance, transparency, and visibility to your day-to-day life using SharePoint. So how it brings up is what I'm going to take you through the next slides. So next comes the main question, why is it so relevant for pharmaceutical industry? So I basically come from a multi-level industry experience. I've even worked with management and petroleum industries. And I can tell you this tool is perfect fit for something like a pharmaceutical industry because of the plethora of documentation and security that the pharmaceutical industry has to go through. SharePoint provides easy access and easy solutions to such complex scenarios wherein you need security and the document management to go hand in hand with your company's needs and validation. Okay, so some basic examples that we wanted to take you through for why and where this is actually going to fit you for is some 7 of the points that we could actually bring up from our experience with our past clients. So we have seen people use it extensively for clinical study portals, partner and CRO collaboration, wherein there are third-party consultants working with you, commercial and brand team collaboration, where branding is also taken into perspective, study team collaborations, automating the clinical trial processes, medical inquiries, and even product compliance requirements. So we have seen companies extensively use SharePoint, at least pharmaceutical companies, for these areas. So then comes the main question, what is the risk of not upgrading to the newest version of SharePoint or even from a third-party tool to SharePoint? Well, I'll be very frank, if the tool collaboration and for the various document management does suffice your requirements, we are definitely not urging you to do this. But what we want to show you is what are the capabilities of SharePoint and what is the thing that SharePoint brings differently to the table, which can actually make your life easier. So what you have to understand is that it has got a lot of functionality. Even comparing the versions, the newest ones are having a lot of functionalities on top of the old ones, which can make a lot of coding and lot of automations easier for you. And even as time progresses, Microsoft keeps retiring the older versions. Like recently, they completely retired Microsoft SharePoint 2003. If you were using SharePoint 2003, it's completely not supported by Microsoft right now. SharePoint 2007 also, they've announced the date, which is another year from now. So after that, again, Microsoft will not be providing any patches per se or any fixes per se for that version of SharePoint. What we are actually giving you in the presentation is SharePoint and its newest versions of 2010 and 2013 and how they stand apart from the rest of the crowd. Great. Moving on, so I'd like to now move into the features and privileges that SharePoint is actually giving you, starting off with what is a collaboration portal. So Microsoft basically designed this tool as a collaboration portal, so it gives you state-of-the-art collaboration portal with all access in a single point. It can have announcements handled, it can have discussion forums handled, it can simply integrate with a lot of your tools. Like if you are actually integrating Outlook with it, SharePoint will actually take everything from Outlook, like an announcement or even a meeting or even some kind of, an appointment with a person, and it will directly integrate with SharePoint. So you can actually have the single point of contact handle it for you. You can create and manage surveys. You can create and manage tasks. You can integrate it with third-party applications like project and how the scheduling and even the time reporting come in SharePoint. So this one, basically the root reason why SharePoint is there is to act as a collaboration portal, a single point of access for everything. That's pretty much how it goes. Moving on, like as I showed you, as I told you, this particular tool acts as a collaboration portal, so it can handle a lot of features and a lot of collaborative applications like calendars, voting, committees, tasks and projects, intranet, extranet merging, documentation, and a lot of things. So that's how the collaboration part goes with. Moving on, the document management system. So coming to SharePoint, number one, yes, it's a collaboration portal. Number two, what it does, it's a document management system. So what makes it different from a lot of other document management systems available? So basically the root reason why SharePoint stands apart is the simple architecture and the usability that it provides, along with a very robust safety features. So it provides a document management with a lot of varieties of security that you can choose from, and you can design it. You can define and decide things at a site level, at a folder level, and even at a file level. How this differs is basically very simple. Like let us say you have a project with a site, you want to define security for your site, wherein some people should be accessing it on a complete level, some people should just be reading. You can do it at a site level. And let us say within the site you have a folder, you want to assign security to that, yes, possible. And again, let's say there is a file within your folder, you want to assign security to that, that's also possible. So why it actually stands apart from the rest of the tools is that, yes, it does document management, and yes, it does it with minimum effort required from an administrator or a developer point of view. You can be the owner of the site and do all these things very easily. And as I showed you and I told you, like document management system also comprises of a lot of other things that I can actually take you through in the next slides. Like there is a knowledge share that can happen, access is secured, storage, the repository is going to be huge up to the level that you want. It's pretty much, infinite that I can say. Management of documents becomes very easy, archiving becomes easy, and even workflows. So definitely I'm not going to take you through all the features available with Microsoft SharePoint within the 24 minutes because it's absolutely impossible. But I just wanted to cover the main areas that we feel from Synowledge perspective that are pain areas for pharmaceutical clients. So apart from being a collaboration portal and document management, we've seen people, especially in pharmaceutical industry, struggle a lot with workflows. A workflow is nothing but it's a part of automation. So basically what a workflow does is it automates some part of your work and makes your life easier. So with SharePoint, the part of workflow becomes very simple. You can simply have very simple workflows created by yourself or even with administrator or a developer having complex workflows developed. You can make all the things within your company automated, like an invoice approval or maybe a purchase approval or maybe a plan approval, or even stuff like, some kind of surveys and poll analysis and all those things can be automated. So what you're looking at the screen is a very simple approval workflow. Here you can see it actually can span into a multitude of features as well. Like something as complex as an employee getting induced can also be automated. That's what I wanted to show in this slide. The other pain area that we've seen pharmaceutical companies struggle with is reporting. And yes, SharePoint provides a wide variety of reporting options. Not only does it give you direct reporting options like Excel reports and performance point dashboards, which can directly sit in SharePoint and create simple window-like reports for you, not even occupying the whole page and even coming on a graphical note. It can also provide something called SQL Server reports, which are the advanced level of reporting, wherein you can create customized click-through reports. Something like, actually we have developed something for a recent client who wanted a report on a global perspective. So they had a whole lot of things on the global perspective, wherein everything on the on the globe came in a one report. When they clicked on one area, yes, they got the report for that area. Then they click on the country, they get the report for that country. So even a very complex report up to 3-4 drill down levels are possible with SharePoint. So the news here is that yes, reporting tools are available other than SharePoint and reporting services, but the beauty of using SharePoint is that these being Microsoft tools, they directly interact with each other. You don't have to keep another layer of investment or another layer of complexity with a third-party tool like Oracle, like SAP or some other tool wherein reporting comes into picture. That's the beauty of reporting. So these are some screenshots that we wanted to show you on how reports can look like. Then comes the learning management system, which again, some companies really struggle with. Here, even in Synowledge, we use our learning management system in SharePoint, wherein you can create that various, trainings and various policies within SharePoint, and you can make people assigned to them, and you can even get the metrics out of the same area. So the beauty of it is there is a single point where the training goes in, the person assigns the trainee on the same page, the trainee goes and looks at the training, acknowledges, and yes, obviously the trainer gets an acknowledgement saying, yes, I've done this. So these are some screenshots on how we have done this. So you can see we can create the various assigned courses, registered and pending, courses completed. So this means we'll get the list of what is what, simply direct, and we can even have emails, automated emails sent to various people when they get assigned to some trainings like this. Very simple indeed. And yes, the metrics looks like this. So directly on any training, how many people were it allocated to, how many people completed it, everything is possible by SharePoint. Moving on, other than these main areas, we have seen pharmaceutical companies also struggle with some areas called business intelligence and analysis metrics. So some kind of reporting and definitely showcasing like color coding, which you can see here based on numbering, you can directly color code. No coding required, it's directly on the page. And then formula level calculation, like let's say you have a list or a detailed spreadsheet wherein you have a lot of things to be added. SharePoint can directly do that calculation for you. Like you can see here, January to December, we have a summation on the project actuals. So it's completely possible. Then we also have some additional features like alerts. An alert is nothing but you can simply even make sure that you are notified or you are knowing when anybody tampers or does an updation on anything that you're owning. So let us say you have created a document that you don't want people to tamper with and you want to be notified whenever somebody does anything, you can even set that. So you will get a notification, not that you can actually not hide it completely, you can do it using security, but let us say you have some contribution level page wherein you want people to contribute and you want to be notified, that is also possible. That's the beauty of it. Another thing that you can do, like I told earlier, is what we call a survey. So having a simple survey within your organization just to get a trending, or even for some events or some financial meetings or something like that, even that is possible. So you can simply create SharePoint surveys, have people respond to it, and you can even collate the data. Completely possible. Moving on, some other, definitely not very important, but yes, not the least important, are stuff called views and custom security. What views does for you is, apart from the security that I already told you, which actually sits on top and makes sure people are not seeing what they're not supposed to do. You can even make people look at simple things. Like let us say you have a whole list of things of 100 columns or 1,000 rows. You can have simplistic views for custom people wherein you define and decide what they should see. That's completely possible without a developer. And even custom security, like I told you, any level of security you want to decide, you can do it on your own. No need of a developer, no need of an administrator. So those are pretty much, the main areas of pain that we have seen pharmaceutical companies go through. So definitely that's not all that actually we can say SharePoint does for the pharmaceutical industry, but we wanted to urge you people, if at all any of those areas are a pain for you, we can completely help you on those areas because we are having an expertise and we have already done stuff on these areas. That's what we wanted to urge on. Now I'd like to just show you some practical applications. I'll definitely not go in detail, but just in a nutshell, how the various divisions or departments in your company can actually get help out of this. So let's say a knowledge center. Let's consider that you need a knowledge center within your organization wherein all the learning repositories and all the white papers are going to be stored and people can access it. Yes, SharePoint can act on it for you, completely automated. Then a project site, let's say, because maybe you're having a new drug created by your company and there are some 20 people who need an isolated area for discussions, sharing ideas, and even documentation. You can completely do it isolated from everything else using SharePoint. Then comes the help desk, like let's say even something like a help desk wherein people raise a concern, the help desk agent goes and addresses it and acknowledges. That is also completely possible using SharePoint. So these are some basic things. And again, even the bigger departments in your company, like let's say the human resources, the sales and marketing, and the finance and accounts, they can also completely benefit from SharePoint. Even here in Synowledge, we use this a lot, wherein human resources actually, they share their employee policies, schedules, the leave requests, and everything in SharePoint. So they have a repository for that, which they manage and nobody can actually tamper with. Sales and marketing uses it as a repository for their sales presentations, brochures, case studies, and all that. Finance, obviously being a more secure area, they completely have all their invoicings, payments, pay slips, and everything archived and saved within SharePoint on a safer note. So these are roughly some practical applications that we wanted to show you that SharePoint actually does for you. Not that these are the only areas of help that actually SharePoint can provide you, but yes, these are some basic practical applications that we wanted to show you. Moving on, we just wanted to, just for the benefit of those people who are actually from some SharePoint background and just trying to see how the newest versions are going to make your life easier, we wanted to just compare and show you some things. So we are actually just taking out 2003 for the benefit because it's completely redundant and basically Microsoft actually stopped the support also. So we'll just compare the 3 versions of 2007 SharePoint, 2010 SharePoint, and 2013 SharePoint. And as the name says, they were actually released on those years. And obviously, the complexity also keeps on adding. Because of that, you can see 2007 had limited speed, limited storage, limited customization, and extensive requirement for coding. 2010 and 2013, they have actually progressed from their predecessor. 2013 even goes on cloud. So it's completely available on cloud network. So you don't even have to have, a company network for yours. You can have a cloud network and everything can happen automatically for you. And yes, as time progressed, the timeout issues, if you have had any in your company with 2007, we actually had a lot of timeout issues. So in 2010 and 2013, it's fairly less. And again, like I said, there was a lot of requirement on coding. If you have used 2007 in your company, there is a lot of coding and a lot of administrator and developer support that has been required, which has actually gone better in 2010 and 13. Thereby, the collaborative and document management features become very easier to manage. That's the main thing we want to urge on. Then comes the search capability. If you have used SharePoint 2007, yes, there is a search, but it's not very friendly or it's not very, helpful at many times. Actually, it actually doesn't serve the purpose as well. In 2010 and 2013, the search has also got so better. And in 2013, they have a Google-like model wherein you don't even have to type out the entire thing. Like let's say you want to search John Smith's number, which is in a document in some site that you don't remember. You simply have to type John Smith. You type John, Smith will automatically be filling out for you, and it will even search for the document, and it will show you the contents without opening the document. That's the beauty of having a SharePoint 2013 version with you. Search is too good. Some more features that we wanted to just show you was that if you have some experience in 2007, for any modifications, you had to bring the whole application down in 2007. So if you were using in your company, you would have seen constant emailers from your maintenance saying that the application is going to be down for this temporary outage for some maintenance. It's basically, even for small application changes, we had to do that, which in 2010 and 2013, you don't have to. So the advantage is you don't have to bring your business down for an application upgrade. That's the advantage. Another very beautiful advantage that the newer versions have brought through is 2007 required the client to be installed for everything to be accessed. Like for a spreadsheet opening, you needed to have Excel. For a document, you needed to have Microsoft Word. But in the newest versions, especially in 2013, you don't need the client software to read. So yes, you can directly see and view everything in the web without having a client license for your tool. That's the beauty of it. And again, one very important feature that I wanted to show you, this actually is regarding the costing on 2013 side, is they have right now mixed the licensing. So if you were on the finance side, you would have seen SharePoint and even all the other tools come with a lot of cost on the licensing side. And actually SharePoint is so much better compared to its competitors. But now SharePoint, what they're doing is they are mixing and matching the licenses. So you can have an administrative license, which is a top level license for very few people like project managers and resource managers. And the end users can have a standard license, which actually costs very less. And both these can be managed within the same system. Thereby, let's say you have an organization of 500 people, you just need some 50 administrative licenses and 450 standard licenses. The costing becomes so less compared to any other tool. And again, because of the version changes, the look and feel has got so much better, and all the workflow details that I showed you, they are too much advanced in 2010 and 2013, which are the later versions. And there is a very, very interesting feature which they have introduced towards the later stages, which is the last point that I want to bring up, which is called co-authoring. So I don't know if you have had some experience of this yet, but many times people would be accessing the same document at the same time from different geographies and running into each other. So here in the later versions, what SharePoint is doing is they brought up something called co-authoring, wherein somebody from Europe and somebody from America can actually edit the document at the same point of time and later collate both their edits, because the tool does that for you, and you can choose which version and which text even to take. It will actually compare page by page. So that's the beauty of having a later version. So right now I'd like to conclude what I showed you. So basically, as I told initially, I have definitely not gone through all the various features of SharePoint, but we just wanted to pinpoint and focus on the areas that we felt are pain areas for pharmaceutical companies. So it basically is a new generation tool which is aimed at a lot of features and groups of audience, including pharmaceutical industry. Yes, it is a tool which is actually for a wider audience. It's not a pharmaceutical industry focused tool, but yes, it makes a lot of sense for a pharmaceutical industry because of the functionality that it brings through. It is very flexible and it can be easily integrated with any kind of third-party tools and applications like even SAP, HRMS, Dynamics, and Oracle DBMS, which are all third-party tools. We can have integrations with all these third-party tools into SharePoint, so there is no re-entry of data. All your data from multiple applications can be collated in SharePoint. You don't even have to enter everything in SharePoint. It can actually collate every data for you and show you in a single point of area. That is how collaboration works for you. Apart from that, because it's a Microsoft tool, it completely sits with all Microsoft applications directly, like a Word, Excel, Project Access, OneNote, no problems at all. It automatically takes you through, no worries. So I'd like to conclude it right now. So basically, SharePoint, what it is, it's a new generation tool with new generation UI and a lot of features like search, versioning, user profiling, workflows, and all those kind of things. So it's a tool that actually stands apart from all its competitors because of this reason. Right now, I'd like to stop the detailed session, and I would like to hand it over to Donald. So Donald, if you may.
Thank you, JK. That's great. I'm conscious of time, so let me invite everyone. If you've got any questions, please do so. Please put them through the chat window now. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to take a very quick 1 minute to give you an overview of Synowledge. So I promise to keep it short. So Synowledge specializes in providing drug safety, reg affairs, and supporting IT services to a diverse range of pharmaceutical, biotech, and medical device companies. In drug safety, as you can see, your solutions include full case management, generation of expedited and periodic reports, QPPB services, medical literature review, analysis and trending of cases, and medical call center services. In reg affairs, it extends to global regulatory submissions. This is across medical devices, medicinal products, global clinical trial applications from phase 1 through to phase 5, post-marketing services, including writing and submission of variations in annual reports, product compliance and safety or quality updates, and labeling services, which includes translations, updates, and maintenance. We also offer IT services. We help companies manage and maintain their drug safety and other critical applications. Services include hosting, cloud services, and mobile applications. But specific in relation to today's presentation on SharePoint, we work with organizations like yourself to maintain, upgrade, or strategically plan their use of SharePoint. So with that, I am going to proceed to the Q&A section of the presentation. We've had quite a few questions come in, so thank you for that. I'm just going to pick a couple here. If we don't get to your question during this Q&A section, we will contact you directly via email afterwards. So I will start. I'm just going to unmute JK so he can respond to these. So I'm going to start with Mary. Mary, thank you for your question. Your question is, in what areas have you seen SharePoint being used to drive efficiencies in PV? JK, could you respond to that?
Sure, Donald, thanks for that. And yes, Mary, thanks for that question. It's actually a very valid question, especially when it comes to a company like us. So yes, let me put it this way. We work with a lot of pharmaceutical companies, and the main area of focus that even we deliver is drug safety. So yes, we have seen a lot of clients of ours using SharePoint, mainly for areas like a case tracker, which is a day-to-day activity, managing all kind of documentation and repository for the drug safety within the SharePoint tool. Not just that, we have even seen people using the adverse event tracking systems and cases automated with workflows, wherein even, let's say, there is a CAPA or there is some kind of an issue within the drug safety area, they kind of automate the whole thing with using a workflow, and notifications and actions are also flown through from here and there, and it completely concludes in SharePoint. So yes, we do have expertise in this area, and we have clients which extensively use this in their case trackers and all that.
Great, thank you for that. I've got a couple more questions coming in. The next one, I'm actually going to combine two questions in one here, if you don't mind. They're quite similar. So Tanya asks the first question, which is, we use 2007. What are the risks in migrating to 2010? And an anonymous visitor today asked the question, if we wanted to migrate to the latest version of SharePoint, what is the first step and what are the challenges?
Okay, that's a very, very important question as well. So thanks, Anya, and thanks for the anonymous question. So I'll answer both questions this way. I'll actually put an answer collated. So yes, there is nothing like no risk. Absolutely, you're right. There is some risk when you're upgrading. But what we can tell you is that we are actually experts in this area. And not just that, what you're actually gaining by actually looking at this risk is a lot more than what you're actually having with the redundant system. So yes, there is some risk that actually you have when you're upgrading from a version like 2007 or a third party to SharePoint. But what we do initially is just to make sure that we are completely in line. We initially do an analysis of your system and your databases, make sure they are upgradable and they can be actually taken through to the next version and everything. And only after that, we actually come up with a plan of how to execute the upgrade completely. starting from a root level, which is the database level or the migration of data from one repository to another, to the application level, which is to create the application and basically show the data and host it somewhere. So everything is actually taken care by us. And yes, definitely there is a risk, but I can assure you with Synowledge and with our expertise, we completely take care of that risk for you, and it is pretty minimal.
Great, thank you, JK. I've got a question from Kelly. So this is a long one, JK. So please, if you need me to repeat it, please let me know. So
no
Kelly says, I understand that when permissions in SP 2007 are cascaded, especially more complex security models, it causes performance issues. Assuming this is an accurate understanding, is this an issue to be concerned about in SP 2013?
Wow, that's a very good question. Okay, Kelly, so let me put it this way. Security groups and security categories and all those kind of things in 2007, like normally what Microsoft does is, it does not retire the old one completely. It always provides you with a backward compatibility. So because of the same reason, all those cascading security groups and systems are still going to be available within the Microsoft 2010 and 2013 versions. But what I can't actually show you, but what I can actually tell you is that with 2010 and also with 2013, which is the latest one, which is now an app wrapper, security takes a whole new juncture. So just to put your answer in another way, Microsoft SharePoint 2013 is not just an application. It's actually an app, as you can say. Like you can actually handle it and have it like an app within your mobile or within your computer. And you can actually have security protocols and security layers moving around as apps. So it's a completely different, architecture, I have to say. But yes, if you still want to use your 2007 security model in 2010, yes, it is possible. And yes, if you're still going to use the same concept, there is some kind of, I wouldn't say it's a lack of knowledge or anything like that. But basically what happens is, after some level, the grouping and the cascading becomes so complex that it becomes very hard to manage, and it's very hard to understand as well. But other than that, yes, 2010 and 2013 can completely provide you with much robust security protocols and much robust access to the system. I hope I answered your question.
Kelly, if you've got any additional questions on that, please do feel free to contact us directly, because I understand there's quite a bit of detail in that. And the next question comes from Joachim. I hope I pronounced your name correctly there. So the question is, what is your experience with 21 CFR 11 compliance and SharePoint applications?
Excellent question. So, Joachim, thanks for that question. And let me put it this way. Microsoft SharePoint, in a nutshell, what I can tell you is that we have two clients within our company which we work for. Both of them actually, one party is actually not even interested in 21 part CFR, and that's why even they go ahead and they have a direct notification in their page that says, no, we are not CFR Part 11 compliant. So if you are actually putting something here, please make sure they are certified. But the other one actually that we are actually right now doing, they're actually doing the 21 part CFR 11, compliance meeting. So yes, Synowledge has got a lot of knowledge and a lot of expertise regarding 21 part CFR compliance. And SharePoint wise also, we are doing it right now for one of our clients, because they have to undergo and they have to make sure every single document within the repository is compliant. Otherwise, their regulatory affairs goes on a toss. So yes, we have some expertise on that. So if you want to contact us later, yes, we can definitely help you on that area as well.
Great, thank you. So I've got another question from Janish. He asks, can you give some examples of the robust security features which are available in 2013 and not in 2007?
All right, no problem. So actually, that question was, sorry, Jerome, right?
No, that was Dinesh.
Dinesh, okay. So Dinesh, thanks for that question. So I can actually not show you just because actually we don't have a 2013 demo system which we can actually put on live. But what I can tell you is that 2007 not only had a lot of security flaws within it, which came with the groups and securities, because basically like even we use a 2007 version within our company for the internal purposes, and most of the time the security, though it is actually set at some level, it somehow gets bypassed. Because initially, if I don't want to get a bit too technical, but what I can tell you is that in 2007, how it used to happen is, let's say you are providing access at 10 gateways and you're denying it at one gateway, the deny always stood on top and the deny always took the whole thing away. And it was practically very hard to understand and identify why there was an access issue and why the person is having an access different from what it was offered. And in 2010, pretty much, the same security groups and categories have been carried over. But the beauty is that from central administration as well, which is the administrator side of SharePoint, we can manage it on a better way and on a better perspective. The groups also can be managed and customized. So in 2007, it was all out of the box. We couldn't do anything on top of that. In 2010, you can create your own group. Like you can define the granularity of what person needs to do what, other than the 3 or 4 things that SharePoint gives you. In 2013, what it actually gets you to do is, you don't even have to have a feature or a document wrapped within a site and have a headache of security. You can wrap it as an app, have a custom security given to the app, and the app security will take care of what needs to be done. So you don't need to have a complex security setting. That's the main reason why we are actually urging for 2013.
Okay, thank you. I'm very conscious of time and we're already 5 minutes over, but I've got one last question, JK, and that is from Tom.
Sure, go ahead.
And Tom asks, you mentioned that there may be no risks in upgrading if we have a properly maintained SharePoint. How would I know if my version is at risk or not maintained properly?
Okay, yeah, thanks for that question, Tom. A very, very relevant question as well, because this is an area that we hit a lot, because I worked with multiple migrations and multiple transfers into SharePoint. And yes, there is a lot of risk. That's why I told you, like, there is a risk definitely, because how actually the risk stands out is because let's say you have a document, or maybe you're having a script within your older version, which is actually helping you with something. It might not be doing much. Maybe all it does is it has an HTML page which is actually trying to update or trying to make a very good look and feel kind of structure. But what happens is that the later versions or the subsequent versions might identify this particular feature as a virus or as a bug. It is basically trying to make your life easier by making sure that the application is not going down. But end result, what happens is that, okay, yes, my system is not going to take that risk of taking the older version, so I am not taking you. So that is why what we do, as I told you, is we do a complete analysis and a study of your data, try to make sure that everything is going to work as planned, then we create the plan, we mock it up a bit, and we make sure on a trial run, making sure that every data has been passed through, every single feature also has been passed through. I'm not assuring that all of your applications or features are going to pass. If there is going to be a fail, we will let you know in the first level itself. That's the promise we can say, because I'm definitely not saying that everything, like including a risk or a virus, is going to come through. If there is a risk, we will tell you upfront. So that's why I told you we'll do an analysis, then only we'll even be giving you a code. Only if you're interested, you need to take it through. So that's pretty much the beauty of it, and that's how we are trying to be flexible with you.
Okay, thank you. And I apologize to all those who've asked additional questions that we can't get to today because I'm conscious of time. So at this point, I will close down the webinar. I would like to thank everyone for registering for this event, and we will distribute a recording of the presentation over the coming days. If you have any further questions on the topic or would like a one-on-one conversation with JK or any other Synowledge expert, please feel free to contact your local Synowledge office. Numbers are up on the screen in a moment. So you can contact us at www.synowledge.com or email us at info@synowledge.com. Thank you again, and bye for now.